Of course, it's all Taylor Swift's fault, isn't it? Meghan Markle furious with the world's biggest pop star because she says her showgirl announcement has overshadowed the launch of series 2 of With Love Meghan. Oh well, I guess she can go to her new BFF and moan about it. Fellow Hollywood bully Chrissy Teigen. We've got all the news on this, then analysis from my good friend Samantha Markle.
It's her fault. That's the shocking phrase tied to Meghan Markle after reports surfaced claiming she allegedly blames Taylor Swift for the poor reception of one of her latest ventures.
Meghan's estranged sister coming up in just one moment. But first, I've got to take you through these scoops from the brilliant Rob Shooter, who, remember, broke news of the end of the Netflix deal in the first place. So, we kick off with Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen, by the way, who, other than Meghan Markle, has a reputation of being the biggest bully in Hollywood. The biggest social media troll in the entertainment industry. So I guess you know what they say, salt and pepper, right? Here's the exclusive. Meghan Markle and Chrissy Teigen now inseparable. What began as a casual lunch has turned into a full-blown friendship takeover. Sources tell Shooter Scoop the Duchess of Sussex and the outspoken model turned cookbook author have gone from friendly acquaintances to constant companions. If they're not texting, they're together, an insider says. The two bonded instantly over motherhood, fame, and relentless scrutiny. Chrissy loves Meghan's honesty about the media, and Meghan loves Chrissy's unapologetic humour, the source explains. They skipped the getting to know you stage entirely. In just weeks, they've been spotted at Montecito lunches, trading banter and celebrity mom group chats, and pulling off stealth meetups in Los Angeles. It's late night texts, inside jokes, the whole thing, the insider says. But not everyone in Meghan's circle thrilled, given Chrissy's past mean girl controversies, but the Duchess isn't budging. She doesn't care about the noise, the source says. For Meghan, this friendship is real, and right now, they're inseparable. Well, let me tell you, these two deserve each other. Okay, I don't think there has been a more gruesome twosome when it comes to Hollywood friendships in quite some time. And can you just imagine the WhatsApp group between these two absolutely exploding when Meghan Markle decided in rage overnight that it was Taylor Swift's fault. All of the lack of hype, all of the lack of views in regards to With Love Meghan Series 2 was nothing to do with the content being crap, nothing to do with the fact that no one really wants to hear from Meghan Markle again. No. It was all down to the life of a showgirl and that announcement. Here's the news from Rob Shooter, exclusive. Meghan Markle convinced Taylor Swift stole her announcement thunder. She's not taking it well after the big moment was steamrolled by Swift. Insiders tell Shooter Scoop the Duchess of Sussex was counting on part 2 of With Love Meghan to dominate headlines after its Tuesday drop. Instead, the internet exploded over Swift's The Life of a Showgirl reveal, which shattered records with 167 million views in 24 hours. Meghan thought her own trailer would own the news cycle, dishes one source. Then Taylor's announcement came in like a wrecking ball. Meghan's convinced it wasn't just bad luck. Adding to the sting, Netflix has quietly demoted the Sussex's $100 million deal to a far less prestigious first look arrangement, a downgrade that speaks volumes. The trailer itself, released with little fanfare, drew mooted interest, and Meghan even turned off Instagram comments. She saw this as her comeback moment, another insider says. Then Taylor took all the oxygen out of the room. The timing couldn't be worse. Palace chatter suggests Meghan's Hollywood special could go head-to-head with Catherine, the Princess of Wales, together at Christmas concert, setting the stage for another royal PR clash. She's trying to spin it as unfortunate timing, the source adds, but Meghan likes being the headline. This week, she wasn't. Okay, so we're going to come to Catherine, we're going to come to Chrissy Teigen in just one moment, but Samantha Markle, of course, it was all Taylor Swift's fault. Did you predict this?
Yeah, I think what's really crazy about it, in my opinion, is that she thinks she's at the level where she could even compare herself to Taylor Swift. Yeah, I think that's so ridiculous, but whatever. I mean, Taylor didn't take the oxygen out of the room. There was no oxygen in the room.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
crazy.
There's just no genuine interest in this woman anymore, is there? Whereas when you look at what Taylor Swift did on the New Heights podcast with her boyfriend, and I listened to it last night, and God almighty, I was cringing. Sam. I mean, for folk who don't know, I go back years with Taylor Swift. She's never changed. I knew her when she was a very, very young teenager, and she always knows how to play the game to get maximum attention. But the difference is, Sam, people care about what she has to say. She has created such hype around her releases. There's a lot of clever marketing and strategy that's gone into it. Whereas what we've seen with your sister, unfortunately, Sam, over the past year is just sort of like, let's throw this against the wall and see if this one sticks. And it's just a mess.
Well, Dan, it's totally apples to oranges. Like her lover, politics aside, Taylor Swift is a massive talent. And excuse me, I don't think we can say that about my sister, just my humble opinion. So no comparison. I think it's really a PR stretch trying to make that comparison. It doesn't work.
No, it really doesn't work. It really does not work. Okay, then we get to the friendship, the new friendship. I described them yesterday, Sam, as the bully girls of Hollywood. Is it any surprise to you that your sister seems to feel like there's a real affinity with Chrissy Teigen, which goes completely against, by the way, Sam, Meghan's public position, although we've known this to be a crock of shit for so long, given the way that she encourages the Sussex squad to try and destroy you, to try and destroy me, to try and destroy many others, but that she's been so public with someone who was cancelled for just appalling conduct online.
I think this really is a case of birds of a feather flocking together. And I gotta say, around the wedding, Chrissy Teigen, knowing nothing about my father, said some really rude things about him. And I made a comment. I lashed out and said that pudgy airhead has no business talking about my dad. But she's just such a bully. And I heard about her bullying of that young girl to the extent of suicide. Like, who does that? And I saw the comments she made to her. They were horrific. So, I guess I'm not really surprised that my sister would align with someone like that. I don't know if it's a safety thing or if she wants the shock factor. But talk about stigma. I wouldn't associate with someone like that. So I think her PR is missing the mark. Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow didn't work. Maybe they couldn't hook her up with an A-lister who has a great socialite and profile who people love. Clearly they couldn't get Taylor Swift. So it's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really revolting, actually, what Chrissy Teigen said about your father, by the way, given she had no idea about what a great man Thomas Markle is. She shared screenshots of an article where he complained about being cut off from Meghan and commented, "This guy sucks. What is wrong with him? Let your daughter be happy, please. This is embarrassing." And so it feels so wrong to me, Sam, that she would even choose to publicly align herself so closely with someone who has been so revolting about your dad.
Well, here's one of the problems with that horrible paid PR aggregate news.
All while making headlines for a sudden friendship with controversial figure Chrissy Teigen. So what's really going on here? Is Meghan shifting blame for her own failures? Or is this just another exaggerated feud headline? Here's the backstory. Meghan has been trying to carve out a new space in Hollywood, from podcasts to lifestyle projects to high-profile celebrity networking. But according to insiders, Meghan reportedly reached out to Taylor Swift for support or collaboration and was turned down. Swift's polite distance was read by some as a public snub, reinforcing the idea that not everyone in Hollywood is eager to be tied to Meghan. Now, with one of Meghan's projects being branded a flop, critics say she's been whispering behind the scenes that Taylor Swift's refusal to collaborate helped doom it. Whether true or not, it paints Meghan as someone looking for someone else to blame rather than taking accountability. At the same time, Meghan has reportedly struck up a new bond with Chrissy Teigen, a figure who carries her own baggage. Teigen has been accused of online bullying in the past.
Is back then, false articles were being written calling my dad a deadbeat dad. Everybody didn't know yet that he paid for everything in her life, that she never got grants or scholarships, that she never worked for the embassy. People didn't know that it was all dad. And so, the average Joe on the street was influenced by that. Celebrities were influenced by that. People were literally thinking that those articles had merit. They had no merit. They were nasty, disparaging paid PR. So, again, I hope that she can look back on that. Well, clearly she's not, because she's friends with her now. But if she had a functioning frontal lobe, she would realize the word is out. Everybody knows that there was so much nasty paid PR, and that, whether under the hub of her PR firm, several magazines, several TV shows, and they all said nasty things about our family. That was at her behest. So shame on her. And whatever happens, in my opinion, they can go down in their boat together, because I think that's what's going to happen with this.
Indeed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
There's been so much outrage about this, though, Sam. I mean, Harry's grey suit posted on X. Harry and Meghan launched a program to help support parents of children affected by online bullying. M has Chrissy Teigen as a guest on part 2. I hope the parents who bought into their scam see what disgusting hypocrites they are. And according to Taz, responded to that saying it wasn't just once or twice either. She targeted Courtney Stodden for some time and encouraged her own fan base to do so, sickening tweets bullying others as well as questionable ones about young children. And Chernovich has actually dug out some of these posts, writing, Chrissy Teigen incited death threats against an underage girl, a clear terms of service violation and predatory behaviour overall. So these were the ones to Courtney Stodden. She said, and these were only the public ones, not the DMs, but she said, my Friday fantasy, you, dirt nap, baby, go to sleep forever, never ceases to make me laugh out loud. Thank you so much, Courtney Stodden. You are truly a Twitter dream. She said, I hate you in another post. What drug makes you do that with your mouth? Asking for a friend who really wants to know how to look like an idiot. Thanks. Do you have a family? Which is very, very threatening. It just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, Dan, as I was looking at that, I couldn't help but think, I think there's a great misconception about many narcissists. I think a lot of people think their ego is just out of this world. There's no way they could feel insecure. But I think the opposite is true. When you look at Chrissy Teigen, and in my opinion, when you look at my sister, I don't believe their egos are out of this world. I think they have a really deep-seated sense of inferiority. And I think they're compensating for it by being hateful, by bullying others. To see Chrissy Teigen say that to someone, to this poor young girl, I was thinking, she doesn't really hate this girl when she said, I hate you. I think that was projection. I think she hates herself, or she did at that time, and she was just lashing out at other people. And I think, case in point, I think narcissists are like that. So I think they compensate for what they really don't feel that they have by bullying others, by being arrogant and self-centered.
That's really interesting, Sam. So you think there's a degree with your sister where she does actually hate herself?
Um, I'm not diagnosing her, but in my opinion, yeah, I do. And I think, whether it's that I think in her heart, she knows that, as Spotify executives have said, as so many have said, she doesn't have the talent, in my opinion, to pull that. She's not mesmerizing to watch. She doesn't bring it. She's not a Gwyneth Paltrow. She's not an A-lister. She's not a supermodel. She's too short. There are a lot of things going on with her that I think she is over the top about. And she compensates by using the royal title, by using connections. Because, darling, if you were all that and you could bring that, you wouldn't need to latch on to Gwyneth Paltrow or Jennifer Aniston or anyone. And I don't care who your agent hooks you up with. If you were so great, you would stand on your own. And I think she knows she doesn't. It's really kind of sad to see that now she's teaming up with Chrissy Teigen, in my opinion, a horrible bully. Because what message for my sister and for Chrissy Teigen, what message does that send to young women everywhere? If you're talking about female empowerment, darling, you're not pulling it by having a queen bully on your show and pretending to be so lovey-dovey with each other. No empathy, remorse, or shame. No bringing love and showing up with love and warmth in a vacuum like that. It's not going to be believable. You don't exude that. So I think Netflix, is really in for a loss. I think they should just suck it up.
Well, can we talk about
plans.
Netflix, Sam? Can we talk about Netflix? Because what was very
Yeah.
odd this week with the release of the trailer is that they were not even able to hide the real Meghan Markle. They tried, but even in this very short trailer, there were so many moments. Look at this one from Princess Carparkle. I don't think Meghan Markle is super impressed with that salad. And they've actually got the footage of this. And she says, I can't believe they left that expression on her face in post-production.
Ooh.
I mean, it's fascinating, isn't it? Nancy Sidley, she found another one where she said Meghan Markle is doing her best impression of a woman not on the edge. And Stephanie, Nancy's sister, they'll be here tomorrow, actually, the Sidley twins, I'm very excited about that, said the many times Meghan Markle's mask slips. So even in this trailer, Sam, just 101 seconds long, we see the true face of Meghan.
Yeah, and her choice of guests. I mean, I think she's surrounded by yes men and yes women. I think she's surrounded herself with people who will suck up to her, and everything she does is fabulous, gives them goosebumps. It's just yada yada. But why didn't she bring on her old buddy Rachel Ray, who is, quite savvy at these things? You would think that if they were still friends, that would happen. Oh, wait, oops, my bad. She can't do that because when she got on Rachel Ray, she lied and said she worked at the embassy right out of college. I'm sure Rachel Ray has heard that that's not true now. I'm sure there's a lot going on that burned that bridge, in my opinion. So why wouldn't Netflix, from the talent pool, put somebody on there who is in a favorable public light, who can bring something to it, who really is a compliment?
But it just looks like Sam Love's sort of begged other Netflix stars. I mean, look at this graph that Royally Sage pointed out.
With resurfaced tweets that targeted women like Courtney Stodden and others. Though she has publicly apologized, her reputation hasn't fully recovered. So when Meghan, often criticized herself for bullying allegations during her time in the royal household, suddenly aligns with Chrissy Teigen, it raises eyebrows. Is this a smart move, or a risky one that ties Meghan to yet another controversial figure? For Meghan, this isn't just celebrity gossip. It's about credibility in Hollywood. She's already lost Spotify. Her Netflix deal has been scaled back. and her brand depends heavily on elite friendships and networking. Blaming Taylor Swift, one of the most beloved and powerful women in the entertainment industry, looks like sour grapes. And cozying up to Chrissy Teigen, who still has bully attached to her name, could backfire with fans who already see Meghan as manipulative. This isn't just a bad look. It's a strategic misstep. Critics like Angela Levin have long accused Meghan of shifting blame when things go wrong. The palace, the press, staff, even Harry's own family. Now, with Taylor Swift and Chrissy Teigen in the mix, the narrative is continuing. Meghan can't take responsibility. When things flop, it's always someone else's fault.
Really, most of the people who are featuring in this show have a commercial tie to Netflix, because otherwise, why would they agree to do this? But Sam, look, sorry, I know it's horrible, but can we just watch the trailer together, please? I'll get your reaction. Let's kick it off, because the very start, Sam, were you sensing joy watching that?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so many things hit me about this. I mean, first of all, show up lovingly. This whole hang out with, in my opinion, fake friends and do these little clips of food and these little cuts to somebody laughing. I think it's really a deflection from how she should have showed up lovingly for the Queen of England while she was outtakes and your little, laughing and being lovey-dovey with fake friends, and shove it, because that's not real. And I don't care if she doesn't like my opinion. The world witnessed this. So it's not just my opinion. You treat people horribly. You don't show up lovingly. You show up, in my opinion, like Medusa, evil, conniving, disparaging, defaming the Queen of England. Who does that? She was suffering and she was still alive when you did that filming, and you knew she would see that, and you sat there and you mocked her. So love, I don't know if you called out lovingly, girlfriend, I would hate to be within 50 million miles of you. And I don't know anybody who wanna, maybe Chrissy Teigen can cozy up to that. But I don't know anybody with a moral compass and a heart who would.
Very true.
Wow.
Very, very true, Sam. Well put. And now we learn that she is purposefully trying to compete with Catherine, the Princess of Wales, for the attention at Christmas. Catherine runs her Brilliant Together at Christmas event, which is so positive and has been so great for her. And we now learn via The Sun that Meghan's holiday special is being designed to clash with that event. What did you think of that?
I've seen a lot of that. I think it's pretty well established that she tries to compete with Catherine. I don't know why that is. It's not like she's trying to impress the Queen. I don't know. I mean, I think clearly her PR keeps trying to cram her into, their perception of being part of the inner royal circle. In fact, Daily Mail did a thing about that and alluded to her being part of the inner royal circle, and it would be odd for Chrissy Teigen and others to try to be close to that. And I replied to that on X. I said, excuse me, sports fans, but she and Harry are not the inner royal circle. And I think she keeps trying to edge closer to that, to upstage Princess Catherine. That will never happen. Princess Catherine is a princess. We don't acknowledge royalty in the United States, but I think the bigger picture is she did 72 days of royal duty. They stepped down from royal duty. They are not royal. You're not royal just because you are family members. You don't do the work. You don't have the credibility, the authority, the reputation. So it doesn't matter how many videos you do and how much you pose like Catherine and how many outfits you put on that look like her. You will never be that. Yeah, it's
So true.
delusional, in my
So
opinion.
true.
Like,
But
where is this coming from?
But what do you make of the big Sussex squad members? Because I want to show you a couple of things. So firstly, Narinder Kaur posted, and this was in response to Jenny Bond, the sort of establishment BBC royal reporter going on GB News. And she said, the fact is Meghan has won and she will continue winning. People love the real King and Queen of Hearts. And this was the video that she was referring to. Watch.
The fact of the matter is, they have won. Meghan has won. And we have to eat humble pie.
I mean, the King and Queen of Hearts. That's ludicrous, isn't it, Sam?
Well, it's obvious to me that she still has a lot of paid PR out there. You know, we don't have to eat humble pie. We don't have to. There's nothing about Meghan that makes us feel like, oh, we've made a mistake. We unfairly judge her. Let's get back to, and her PR don't want to touch this. You mocked the Queen of England as she was dying of bone cancer. And I think every time they show these stupid clips, they need to juxtapose it with that mockery on Netflix. There's no, you eat humble pie. You should have eaten humble pie from day one instead of stepping in front of the Queen in processions, instead of, thinking that you could break the royal hierarchy and protocol. So the public doesn't have to eat the humble pie. She has to eat the humble pie.
Totally. And also, Sam, I mean, even these left-wing American media outlets, liberal media outlets like the New York Times, like the Hollywood Reporter, are acknowledging that this was not a new deal. Look at that. I mean, the New York Times, this is where Meghan decided to announce the deal in the first place. It's just bull. It's just absolute bull. This is the end of the deal, just like it was the end of the Obamas deal. And look at what's happened to the Obamas, by the way, Sam, and Netflix after the end of their deal. You don't see the Obamas on Netflix anymore. You see them doing cringeworthy podcasts, which no one's watching, where Michelle Obama moans about her damn marriage all day. Maybe that's the future for Meghan. At least it would be more honest.
Well, I mean, all things taken together, I don't even think you can put Harry and Meghan in a comparable light with the Obamas. So I think these PR outlets are giving them a false sense of elevation. It's apples and oranges. Harry and Meghan are not diplomats. They're not politicians. They're not working royals. They're not A-listers. So why would you even discuss them in comparison with the Obamas? It's ridiculous PR. And I think there's a lot of PR that still fluffs her. But some outlets are starting to, to scrutinize it. Maybe that's because the money ran out and they can't all be paid to fluff Harry and Meghan. But I think the cat's out of the bag. And in my opinion, they're on their way down. They're not going to be politicians. They have no right to use their royal titles in America in any political sense of the word. It's against the Constitution. So I don't know where they thought they were going with that. But again, you cannot compare them to the Obamas because now you're putting them falsely in a political light, and they are not. So I just want to see this PR, this ridiculous paid nonsense taper off to where they're not played as A-listers and they're not played as a political couple. They really have no business dabbling in either. Having a cooking show doesn't make you an A-lister.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, especially when no one is watching. Sam Markle, thank you so much.
But here's the danger. Hollywood doesn't reward excuses. It rewards results. And blaming someone like Taylor Swift could be career suicide. Do I think Meghan actually went around screaming, "It's Taylor's fault"? Probably not. This smells like tabloid exaggeration. But here's the problem. Meghan's reputation is so fragile right now that people believe it instantly. And that's telling. If you're viewed as someone who makes excuses and surrounds yourself with the wrong allies, Hollywood stops picking up the phone. That's the real risk here. So what do you think? Did Meghan Markle really try to blame Taylor Swift for her flop, or is this just another piece of gossip spun out of control? And is Chrissy Teigen a smart new ally or a dangerous liability? Let me know in the comments. Hit like if you enjoy these breakdowns, and subscribe for more unfiltered royal and celebrity commentary. Because one thing's for sure, in Meghan's Hollywood journey, every friendship and every feud becomes a headline.